earlier was the idea of like viewing romantic relationships through the lens of capitalism in the sense like it's a product that has been sold to us and we have like totally bought it. So, sort of follow up on that analogy. Do you think that we should be purchasing a different product, and where do we buy this product?
That's
If that makes any
a good
sense.
that's a good question. I think I think I'm hoping that we as a society move away from looking at people as or relationships as a product to be purchased, like um, because that leads to or can lead to people being seen as objects.
Mhm.
And this is something, of course, we know that happens a lot through gender, especially, you know, um, women or people that identify as women, you know what I mean? People that are trans, but more towards the femme, being seen as products and
Mhm.
being seen as something to be used and discarded. Um, and and I think that definitely, you know, capitalism with its like what shall I say? I mean, it's definitely something that comes into the stream of history at the time when slavery, right, for example, is becomes chattel slavery,
Mhm.
right, through the transatlantic slave trade, through colonization of different places and cultures, you know, and uh, and I think that's led to a lot of evil in the world,
Mhm.
this dehumanization of people for the purpose of turning a profit or getting resources, access to resources, land, people,
Mhm.
right? Um, it's it's definitely spurred a lot of evil, a lot of I mean, let's look at the genocides in the
Mhm.
20th century. I mean, and they're continuing. The
Mm.
genocides are continuing, right? They're continuing. There's so many genocides happening right now in the world.
Mhm.
Um, you know, we're not just talking about Palestine, we're talking about people in China, the Uyghurs, the
Mhm.
people in the Congo, in the Sudan,
Mhm.
um, even uh, West Papua.
Mhm.
Is that Indonesia?
I think
West
so.
Papua.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And so this desire for profit, like the profit motive, um, has has definitely led to the dehumanization of
Mhm.
certain people and and most of them, have been what I term or people term the global majority, right?
Mhm.
So so I think like what would be the antidote um is to whatever it is in us that we can mm, I don't want to say rehumanize,
Mhm.
um, sacralize, or um, identify with the other. There's streams like of esoteric philosophy and thought
Mhm.
that say that, and I think some of those are indigenous, that we are the human being's evolution is leading towards or is meant to move towards more sensitivity towards each other as human beings, that we are all connected, and so that in the future, if anyone in the world is hungry or suffering,
Mhm.
that we will feel it so much that we can't sleep.
Mhm.
Like it would be impossible for us to sleep if anyone's suffering,
Mhm.
because the connection between us is growing. What do you Yeah, this is a certain stream of thought or philosophy. What do you think of that?
Yeah. I get it. And I agree with a lot of it. Like one thing that I find interesting is that we might be talking about something like romantic love, which might be like some say a frivolous topic in a sense. But we think about
Yeah.
modes which we use to understand romantic love and the connections that they can have to like more historical events of like maybe like industrialization, objectification, and things of that sort, and how those historical streams of thought influence the way we view things in our personal lives. I think it's really interesting. And at the same time, it makes a lot of sense. And that even gets highlighted more when you do things like dating apps. And it's like, okay,
Mhm.
I swipe left and I swipe right for this, and these are just like
Exactly.
products for me to go for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot, what I see more in what you're talking about is kind of like a philosophy that's more of like kind of like a garden in a sense, like a human garden, and like we're
Mm-hmm.
all in one soil. We're all here to enrich each other. We're all kind of like connected at the roots to each other in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
larger sense of community. It's kind of like what I'm getting from it, which I think makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I read something a long time ago. I don't know if that I've mentioned this to you about a certain philosophy, no, a certain psychology that's based on Filipino cultural values.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned it to you, but I forgot what
Aqua
it's
or something of
called.
that sort.
I think so. Yeah. 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 And I think that has something in common with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the value of each other in community is what I get from it.
Yeah, I think so too. Like even if you take a look at the word kapwa, what translation did you get for the word kapwa when you were looking it up?
Wow, I don't remember.
Yeah,
But what is the true translation or
kapwa. It could be
what do
translated
you
as the word
think?
other, like another person, but even that's kind of not accurate because when you say other, here's myself, here's the other, like we're separate.
Hmm.
But that's
Yeah.
opposite of kapwa means because kapwa means like together. You know, it comes from the word
Oh,
ka. Like when I say katrabaho, trabaho is work. Katrabaho, the person who I'm at work with.
okay.
I say kaklase, the person who I'm in class with. So it's like the
Mm-hmm.
other who I am with. There's a strong sense of witness, no? Which is
Mm-hmm.
even kind of like shows how different it is from like the English language. Like when you say the other, you're
Yeah,
automatically drawing a line between yourself and that other person. So that's something to think about in my opinion.
definitely.
Mhm. Yeah.
Definitely.
Even like yeah, so there you go. So yeah, it's kind of like what I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's think